So I've been seeing this debacle between the Atheist Gamer 100 and Wrestling for Jesus and the Brain Enema and Geno 360 and blah blah blah. All of this stuff basically amounting to atheism versus pseudo-Christianity. And I have to intervene because somebody has to be the voice of reason. Now, this first goes to anyone of Christian faith. Now, mind you, I respect Christians, I respect their history, I respect what they've done throughout the generations to combat the degeneracy and immorality of ancient Babylon and things like that. But the problem with Christianity is it has to oppose everything. By the very nature of its doctrine, it cannot entwine with modern science or with any other pseudo-pagan ritual or anything like that. It has to be that directly. If it deviates from that, it's no longer Christianity. That doesn't mean that it's the fault of Christians itself. That's just the way it is, and you have to accept that fact. Now, when it comes to evolution, evolution is about as real as gravity. While we may not know the technicals of gravity, we know gravity exists. If we fall down, we don't suddenly float back up. We don't stop falling down. Gravity is a self-realization of fact. So, the same way evolution works. I could take any animal. A blue jay. Is a blue jay going to still be a blue jay in 1 billion years? No. Will it even be a blue jay in 100,000 years? Probably not. This is not because somehow it magically changes. It's just over the course of that much time, through genetics, through environment, through other factors, it changes. And that's all evolution means, is change. Sometimes change for the better, sometimes change for the worse, and sometimes just change with no direct consequences or benefits. Just different. And because of that, you cannot deny evolution is a real fact. We evolve every single day. We change as people every single day of our lives. Maybe not drastic changes as with evolution, but then again, we don't have 1 billion years to spare to see how much different we would be than when we started. So, but that does not somehow, deny evolution. That doesn't somehow make it obsolete. It doesn't negate it. It just means that we're not there to observe it in action, but we do have relics of past animals, we have fossils, we have things like that, and through that we can study how, during the course of planet Earth's rotation and livelihood, we have seen that animals have come and gone, and sometimes have evolved. They didn't all just outright die, some of them just changed with the changing atmosphere, with the changing migration cycles, with the changing genetics. And sometimes some animals fucked other animals and breed little bastard babies, and those bastard babies had more bastard babies, and so on and so forth, and that's how we all evolved. Now, this does leave the door open for eugenics, which I don't approve of, but you have to take the good with the bad. You have to take the good with the bad, that if you accept that evolution is true, then that means human beings are not exempt from that. And that thus includes that all human beings are of a different subspecies. And unfortunately, you get the storm fags, whatever they're called, Stormfront, and Stormfront people think that innately African Americans, Caucasians, Spanish people, all this are different from each other. And I suppose they are different from each other. Are they drastically different? I don't think so. Are they should their differences somehow disclude them from certain rights? No. Obviously we all think, we all feel, we all are entitled to the same treatment, basically. But yes, there is a genetic difference there. If I go out into the sun, I will not burn nearly as badly as my girlfriend because I have more melatonin in my skin, and that is due to my genetics. That is due to my evolution through what I was born into rather than what she was born into. But does that somehow mean that we're so different that we are entitled to different rights or should be treated differently under the law? Of course not. But some people are assholes and are going to use that to justify that. So, I can understand why some people don't want to go down that road of evolution. And I can understand that there is this presumption of what pro-evolution people act like, and that they want to push their atheism, or secularism at least, onto the public and onto children and things like that. But on the same token, you can't expect there to be prayer in public schools and things like that, because you're just as much in the dark as we are, as all of us are. You know, there are theories. And not all theories are absolute. Not all theories get everything right. But it's safe to assume that if 99% of the time it's pretty spot on, you go with it. Evolution is one of those theories. 99% of the time it makes sense. Does the Big Bang Theory make sense 99% of the time? I'm not so sure about that. I don't know a whole lot about the Big Bang Theory. But what I do know is that it makes more sense than suggesting that just this sentient force known as God created us for whatever reason. No explanation, and I understand that obviously a human being would not be able to comprehend God or God's motivation or reasoning, but it just seems more likely that if we're going to be here, it would make more sense to be here by accident than by design. That just seems more rational to me. It seems more rational to me that through the cycle of how physics works that we got here, maybe not even by accident, but simply by a force of nature that is neutral toward the whole thing, rather than some godlike being made us for his divine purpose, which is never really explained, but somehow we're supposed to know it if we're to accept Christ and be, relieved of our sins and all this other bullshit. So there is a lot more inconsistencies with religion than with science. And I know there's a lot of secular assholes that get behind science to justify their jerk-ass attitudes, but you cannot deny the fact that science has the clear advantage. That's all I'm trying to say here. You know, guys like the Amazing Atheist, they're not pro-science. They're just jackasses. Amazing Atheist doesn't really go into details about physics. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about black holes and supernovas and dark matter. All he cares about is saying that Christians are stupid and Republicans are stupider. And watch me fuck my asshole with a banana. That's all Amazing Atheist is worried about. That and, of course, getting your money. So, you can't go by that. You can't go by the people, the fan base. You have to go by what works. You have to go by what makes sense to you. So, I know I kind of gave a heavy hand toward Christians here, but, it's true either way you go. If you do want to believe in God, then good for you. Believe in God. Believe in God with all your might. Believe in God with certainty and that it makes sense to you. And I'm not even going to tell you not to force your religion down other people's throat. Because you know what? People are always forcing shit down your throat anyway, so you may as well. I don't want to hear this bullshit about, I don't need people telling me what to believe in. Oh, but meanwhile, it's okay for fucking moderators to ban you from every goddamn forum for any goddamn reason. So, no, I don't want to hear the shit that it's all Christians' fault, that there's oppression in the world, and nobody accepts each other for who they are, and No, it's not Christians' fault, it's everybody's fault. Everybody's a fucking asshole. It's just, everybody's a different kind of asshole. Why? Because of evolution. So, it comes back for full circle. And I didn't know what to say in this video. I had an idea in my head, but it just didn't come out quite like I had wanted it to. But I hope you get a better understanding of where I'm coming from here, and where atheists are coming from, and where Christians are coming from, and everybody in between. And how evolution is more or less a fact of life. People in the scientific community do not like to use such absolute terms as fact. They do not like to just say, this is true, deal with it. Because they're always self-correcting themselves. They're always finding out new things, and they're always having to, go back on what they said before. That's why they're scientists. That's why they do research. They are willing to say they are wrong. It is normal, everyday people that aren't willing to admit they're wrong. Because somehow they think that that's going to make them look bad. No, what makes you look bad is being stagnant, is not willing to change, not willing to evolve. So, I guess that's really all I have to say for now. Maybe I'll do a part 2 later. See you later.